Hey CSM leaders, I'm here talking about our upcoming series called The Wall. It'll be on the first 6 chapters of Daniel, and it is going to feel a lot like the underground church. And that being the case, we are going to be pairing off in groups of 15. So 3 to 4 of you will be together, and we'll be leading a group of 15 kids throughout this series. For the first 3 weeks, we will be in groups of 15. And then week 4, we will come back together for a corporate big group experience. And there's some things that we just need you guys to know to be on top of this, to be ready to rock and roll, because there's not going to be a central point of teaching. And so as I'm going to be looking at my notes, this is an unedited, just speak from the heart and from my notes video here, so bear with me if we make any mistakes or I have to look down at my notes or whatever. But a couple things. So week 1, they're going to walk into the game room and we're going to blindfold them and put them in groups of 15, and then we're going to take them backstage and we're going to have small church within groups of 15. And kind of the catalyst for this whole series of what you'll be using will be a black bag that looks a lot like this right here. And in this bag will be kind of how you're going to do church for the couple weeks. You'll have pages of Daniel, because in the underground church you couldn't have a Bible. So you'll use these pages to help you discuss, and there'll be questions that you'll know about ahead of time. You'll have a notebook and you record your learnings in here and what people are saying, and so you'll have kind of a record of what God is speaking to your group. And you also have pens and note cards for prayer requests. There will also be a DVD in there as well that you'll be using. So you'll also have a laptop. There'll be stuff for communion in the bag as well. So there's going to be some really cool things that are going on. Some communion cups. All this stuff is going to be really cool. So it is going to be very interesting, very challenging, very underground church feel-like. So each week this bag will need to be passed from one group to the other, and we'll have an order of groups. So group 7 will pass their bag to group 8, and that way you'll be able to see what they wrote in their notes and how they were feeling as a group and what's happening in their world of the church, and you'll be able to learn from them. We will also do prayer requests, and there'll be prayer requests that you'll fill out one week, and then that'll be critical, because as you pass this around, another group may get your bag and then choose to answer one of your prayer requests, and we'll give you more details on that. But one of the big things we need you thinking about is to get ready for an off-site meeting. We want the underground church to happen out in public, out in meeting places outside of this building. So for 3 weeks, we're going to challenge every group to meet off-site somewhere of their own choice. And when you meet off-site, you'll be watching the DVD, and that DVD will give you instructions of what to do. Like the first week, you're going to do communion somewhere. So as a group of 15, figure out where you're willing to commit to try to meet off-site for just 3 meetings. And try to meet off there for 3 weeks and see what happens. I know there's lots of ways that couldn't happen, could not happen, but man, we're just going to say, push you out there to see what that will look like. There'll be weekly updates from Facebook and things like that to help you, keep you informed. And this video will be happening in communion. Let me check my notes here to make sure I've got stuff here. We'll also be giving each group a book called Jesus Freak, and that'll be for the leaders to help, and that is all about persecuted Christians throughout the world, and stories of everyday, real day Christians being persecuted right now in our world. And so that'll be some content for you as well, and we'll be handing that book out soon. One book for about every 4 leaders, so you guys, whoever the reader in the group is, can be there. But start thinking about the off-site meeting. That's going to be very critical. And then the other thing that's going to be challenging for you guys is if someone loses a bag, there's going to have to be kind of like, you guys are going to be without materials for that week. So you need to be prepared to be dependent on your group and your group to figure out how to solve some problems on your own. And we'll give you a little bit more information about that in our July meeting. So there's a lot happening. I know I'm not giving you all the information here, but there's definitely some stuff here. So start thinking right now what an off-site night you may have. If you're able to do something like that, we would love it. And to really think about challenging and pushing the kids to meet with you off-site to do church in a public place, a public park, a Starbucks, a library, wherever you think you could potentially do church offsite, start thinking about that right now and be ready to go. So your group will decide that and move from there. You will also be challenged to meet one person's prayer request from another group. So as that bag passes and you'll see someone's name on it and a prayer request, you're going to try to answer somebody's prayer request during one of these offsite church meetings. So when you come together, you'll be thinking about how to solve that problem. And I want you to be creative, because it's not necessarily about using money, although it could be about using money, but think about being creative with this offsite prayer request thing. So it's going to be small group based, groups of 15, connecting together, doing church in a small setting, using the book of Daniel. So if you haven't read the book of Daniel, read the first 6 chapters, get familiar with some of that stuff, and look forward to some great stuff that we're doing here. If you've got questions and comments, please ask and get on the game ahead of time. We will have our meeting on July 10th to go over all this, but we wanted to give you a heads up first. Thanks.